Life is just amazing. Kaneki and Touka are just out in the field, watching their kid, living the best life. Make it be twins, make it be triplets, however many kids they have. And it's just perfect. They have a perfect wedding, and whoa, hold on. I made a joke about this last week. I made an entire joke about the fact of Kaneki and Touka having a wedding. And this chapter, Ishida was like, yeah, Lucky G, you are correct. There is going to be a kind of indirect marriage between Touka and Kaneki. I didn't even call that. I just made that as a joke. And that, to me, I'm like, interesting. That is interesting, just to say the very least. Hey guys, what's up? Lucky G7 is here today to give you guys another Ghoul podcast. And like always, we've got a special friend / special guest with me today because, you know, I can't do this by myself. I always have to have somebody with me. And it's always fun talking about Ghoul with somebody else. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
It's once again me, SPARDA3g. Back to discuss more Tokyo Ghoul with Lucky G7 because why not? There's so many things keep on happening in each passing chapters, and yeah, we officially got something that Lucky G has joked last week, and Ishida's like, you know what? I'll make that into reality because that's what I do.
It was great. I'll say that it was great, but I never thought it would happen that looks like this.
I know. It's like, I should raise more. I should have more reason to give it a giant flag of doom. But how we're gonna do this without making it seem like we managed to make this entire ceremony of a marriage? Oh, I know. Let's make a bite marks, and then we call it a day. And there you go. Now the flag is raised above high in the sky, and I can just wait. I cannot wait to do something evil.
Evil. I got a weird Mermaid Man reference from SpongeBob.
I forgot what I even got it from. I think maybe it was from that. I'm thinking something else somehow, but maybe it was from that.
I could just imagine that playing in the background. It's like, Eve. But needless to say, the chapter itself, before we get to that moment, it opens up with the kids asking Kaneki about like Touka's whereabouts, and they're just asking, and he's like asking like, why are you looking for her? I mean, we kind of seen this, but they're asking about Touka because, like, you know, she always reads them like a picture book, which I think is kind of sweet. And I guess the best way to say it verbatim, it's like, well, what about you, Kaneki? Like, can't you read? And she's like, no. Like, no. I mean, I could read it, but they're like, no. Like, no, not you. It's Touka. Like, Touka has this, like, weird way of, like, explaining things, and we kind of like it that way. And, you know, Kaneki, he kind of brushes up and, like, say, like, you know, I see. Well, let me go try to look for her. And that's kind of what ends up being the case. And they end up finding Touka where, like, because she's, like, looking at the distance. And Kaneki's thinking, like, you know, I hope you're not mad at me after the whole little thing that you found.
Well, I'm mad, all right.
Yeah, right? It's like, you know, that little memo we kind of mentioned about December. Like, there, Miss Touka. And this, like, gets Touka's attention. And we get another Touka x Kaneki moment. What is up with the Ishida right now? We're, like, getting token moments, like, back to back.
I'm telling you, we're setting up for doom. Like I said, if we're done with this arc and everything goes normal, everything goes peacefully, we get a child, we get a happy moment, everything is done. Well, maybe not everything, but most of the thing is done. If that all happened, I'll celebrate the shit out of this.
I know, right?
That's why I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. I know this is a visible flag behind them. I just see it. I can see it. I have a special eyes. I can see something that nobody cannot see. Well, actually, somebody could see it too, but that requires a lot of skills.
It does. But yeah, like Touka's there, And the kids are asking if she could read it again. And she's like, well, I guess I could. And then she starts, with Once Upon a Summer, a bear and a wolf were walking through the forest when ... They heard the beautiful song of a bird. And Kaneki, while she's reading this to the kids, kind of just says, she seems just fine. And then we cut over to Hajime Hazuki and this kid. Okay, this kid, concerned. Very, very concerned. Because Kaneki's there, he's like, I'd like to talk to you. And I don't know what the hell happened to him over the course of the last few chapters, because he had this very calm and composed nature to him. And now he's like, Ken Kaneki! He's fanboying about this whole thing. And I'm thinking, what happened?
Well, he was already showing craziness towards the end when he got captured. So
that's true.
Yeah, that was like, oh, okay. Now he could finally let everything out when he meet the great Ken Kaneki.
And you're seeing that too. He basically mentions I looked up to you and your strength. And, he even mentioned, despite being a human, you gained enough power to become a half Kakaja. And I can't even count how many times I watched and rewatched the video files we have of you. You're the miracle human. And I'm just sitting here going well, because he said he looked up to him, and I'm thinking, is that as a joke, or is he actually being serious about that? And then I'm going back to the pages, and I'm like, okay, so he's actually being serious about that. And that's interesting. I'll say that much, because even Kaneki's saying, hey, I'm honored about it, but I'm not here to talk about myself. I'd rather much talk about what we had from the letter. Suspicion confirmed. I mean, I kind of thought it was kind of obvious, but Hajime mentioned, oh, you mean the letter from Mutsuki? And I'm like, oh. Call it?
Well, he said he doesn't know exactly what's the content behind that. He just knows there's a letter. He has to give it to him, and that's that. I can't really say that he's telling entirely true, because, these characters are all about putting it front, putting a fake, putting a mask behind there. And I don't know, maybe he is telling the truth. It's possible he is telling the truth. I just think it feels like it could be some other part that he's not telling in. He's not letting in something else that he probably is there for, besides that whole little memory stealing the part. But I don't know. I feel like there's obviously going to be a little bit more to it. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of when. Right now, we're just getting into the slow process of the arc, but it's only just building up to something.
Yeah, and I guess it just really depends on what happens from that point forward, because even Hajime asks hey, if you're going to the service, take me with you, please, and that kind of gets Kaneki back away, and then he just thinks there isn't enough time between now and the execution date. How is he gonna save Yoriko, while she's being held up in jail by the CCG? Especially since there's over 100 places they could be keeping her, and yeah, I'm reading that verbatim. Do I really have no choice but to rely on Mutsuki? And then you see I don't know if it's blood tears that's coming out that's rolling down from his face, but it's it is blood.
It's blood, yeah.
Yeah. It's blood that's dripping down from his eye. And Kaneki's looking at it, and he's the miracle human ? Which kind of does foreshadow something. Because we cut the Nishiki, and the minute this whole part came into play, I was just oh boy. It was bad enough with what we were getting with Touka and Yoriko. And then Ishida just had to add this little part in. And I'm just really, Ishida? You're killing me, man. You're killing me with
kind of Kim.
You're killing me with all the suspense is one thing, but death flags are another.
Oh, again, plenty of them in one arc, no less.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what gives with Ishida today.
It doesn't. I mean, I know I've said it before, but he had a death flag too back in the Coachella arc, but it wasn't to this extent. It really wasn't.
No.
But Nishiki basically explains about like the number of times a cell can divide its is kind of predetermined, and like how every time a cell divides, its telomeres gets a little bit smaller, and kind of like reflecting on the Kaneki, saying that like there's a chance that the RC cells contain an enzyme that lengthens telomeres that might even be why ghouls can tolerate tissues like cognates that are composed of so many proliferating cells. But in Kaneki's case, here's the difference. It's referred to aging, but Kaneki wasn't a full ghoul. That should be really taken into consideration. He's not a full ghoul, and because of that, his aging factor is like accelerating, and that means
He saw a snake.
yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like I don't even know what the best word to describe that is, but shocking. Like I think that probably the best way I could say it. It's shocking. It's like Kaneki's a half ghoul, an artificial half ghoul at that, and his aging process is like spiking through the roof.
It begs the question: if the later experiments from Kanu are they like more advanced to the point they could still be okay living a good life, at least better than Kaneki, or it's the same process? That's one thing. Because if it's the former, then maybe Furuta got it much easier than Kaneki, if anything.
That's what I was wondering too. I was kind of just thinking with all the other experimental trials that Furuta has done, like on Amon and Sato, like has he improved upon what he's done with Kaneki? And that's kind of something that's always kind of led me a little curious, especially like after the events from Touka Ghoul to Touka Ghoul Re. And Nishiki even asks like, so when did you even get like the black tears? And it happened about a month ago, according to Kaneki. So it didn't happen necessarily after. Well, it did happen after what's it called? After the fight with Mutsuki and Aura, and I'm not exactly sure when the little moment between Touka and Kaneki happened, because it was after the fight. But which month that took place in, I'm not exactly sure. But I guess it's easier to say that the fight itself, like not the fight, but the token moment where they hit the sheets, that it was a little bit after that. That's what I'm hypothesizing. I'm thinking that the black tear started coming after when he and Touka smashed. That's just my prediction. But what do you think of like when it really started to form? Because Nishiki's saying it happened about a month, or Kaneki's saying it happened about a month ago. But at what specific point, though?
Maybe it's like if it's really a month later from the last time that we seen, that before that time skip that just happened, which it still seems to suggest that it has been a month ago. I'm thinking that is the case, but maybe it is right after. I think maybe it probably happened like after they discuss what to do, like go to the 24th ward, start living there, living underground. We'll just disarm everybody. Maybe the first time they do this, it probably just happened during the battle against the CCG, and it's like, oh, he's starting bleeding, and he probably kept it to himself. And maybe that discussion, when did that discussion even happen? That's a flashback, correct?
Yeah, that's a flashback.
Yeah, maybe that discussion probably happened maybe a week later on from that same month. Maybe that happened. I'm not sure. Wait, when he said again?
He said it happened at least about a month ago.
At least a month ago. Okay, maybe that flashback happened this timeline. Basically like this week in the timeline wise. Okay, let me just rephrase the entire thing. So basically, what I think is maybe it happens when he first started to do his idea of keeping it peace by just disarming everybody. Maybe around that time he started to bleed blood. Maybe that's where he keep it to himself, and then he probably starts to open up because probably the fact that he is getting weak, and we seen let's see how many chapters ago. I would say I forgot how many chapters, maybe 4 chapters ago, where you see Kaneki just falls down from the sky, and he almost looked like he's in a rough shape, right?
Yeah.
But he comes out and looking all fine, like he's the king. That's cool and all, but it has that moment that it feels like he's really getting winded out. But he recovered quickly. That's the idea, because he has to keep that face. He has to keep that. He has to keep that stature that he is the king. He's the only saving grace. You see everybody reaction is like, oh my God, he's the king. He's the king. Everybody, hey, if he dies, I think I would die too. Well, they didn't say that, but that's the feeling that these guys have, because everybody's at the low point. Everybody's at, basically everybody's in this Titan syndrome where everybody feels like, where everybody is like have this wall. And when that wall breaks, everybody breaks.
Right.
So that's what like most of the ghouls down at 24 War are feeling right now, because CCG is wiping everyone out so far, and there's no recovery at this point.
Right. Like, and that's the thing. Like, it kind of just gets you wondering. Like, so with this, it's like, so what solution does Kaneki have? And Ishiki basically says, like, you're not a ghoul. Like, if you keep fighting like this, like, he's not gonna last long. And that kind of puts Kaneki to one where he even asks, like, so is there a way to stop the aging? And Nishiki brought up 2 suggestions. The first one, don't use the Kagane. And don't get wounded too badly, because I know that's the thing that's happened with Kaneki in the past, but if it continues, that could lead to his death. It could.
That's I always thought he was like, it's sad because like he's not a genuine one-eye ghoul. He's just artificial, as you say.
Yeah.
So you could say Eto back then has a much better, because she's genuine. So right. she could do a lot of craziness. Kaneki can, but now there is a limit, and especially that Kaneki hasn't been recovering well. So it's like, well, now what he's gonna do? What is his nourishment? I mean, like, he could eat human, that would kind of help, but he hasn't eaten anything for such a long time that now it seems like you're gonna start doing cannibalism. And
that's the next thing that Nishiki suggested. Like, I can't recommend this, but maybe cannibalism. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, Kaneki's in a tough state. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, so you got 2 options: either don't fight, or
don't fight with Kagane and don't get hurt.
Yeah, like don't fight with Kagane and don't get hurt, and then cannibalism. So that kind of got me wondering, like, so does that put Kaneki in the same position as Touka now, where he shouldn't fight? Like, Touka can't fight because she's pregnant, but now Kaneki's in a position where he can't really fight, because if he uses his Kagane and if he gets hurt, if he gets hurt, like, he's not going to survive, obviously, but if he continues using his Kagane, that's going to accelerate the aging process. It's tough. I mean, that's one way I could say it. Like, it's tough for both of them. But what do you think? Like, do you think Kaneki needs to fight, or do you think he should kind of just sit out on the sidelines for
that's the thing. Like I said before, I feel that everybody are trusting him a lot, and everybody are counting on him to bring peace, bring whatever for the ghoul side. I feel like he has no choice but has to fight. I mean, if he doesn't fight, maybe they will understand. I hope, but if he doesn't fight, sometimes I feel like people probably be thinking like he's no king, he's not fighting. What's the deal? Maybe it caused a little gossip within the ghouls. I don't know. I'm hoping they're more understanding than that, but I kind of doubt it. And if you go cannibalism, here's a strange thing. Like, okay, the first option, obviously, don't go fight, or don't use Kagane much, or don't get hurt. It, like, when you look at both options, it kind of finds his way to force him to take the action into a more easier route, and that is, well, straight up kill them. It's like I said one in the review. it's sad, but it's kind of true that killing a person is much easier than disarming one,
It
because
is.
you don't need to target that area. All you have to do is take his head off or do anything that just take his life away, and it's not that hard. Which is, again, is cold truth, but that's how I see it, and that's how a lot of people like to interpret it in their story. With that said, if Kaneki wanted to make the job easier, he could try to take a Quinque and start using against them, but it would be harder to disarm them. So the irony is he could start, if you want to bring peace and he wants to, do it with his own hand, maybe the only way to do it is take their life, because hey, it makes it much easier, so he doesn't have to do too much work, neither he has to get wounded. Now the other option is cannibalism, and that's don't require to kill a human, but it could segue to that, mainly because he already has Kaguya, half Kaguya. Now, if he eats a lot and then at one point he would have Kaguya taking over him, he would lose control and he ends up killing people. So that would just become a moot point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really, it's such a it's such a tough decision, because first option, it would make him in a very, very harder position because he has no way to fight them, but maybe take somebody's Queen K. But it's going to be much harder to disarm them because, it's a small weapon, and some weapon is not the way that you are used to. And then you got the cannibalism, it would be fine, you would be okay, healthier, but there'll be the time that Kaguya will take over you, and then you start killing people without you realizing it.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. My preference, I would say try to go for the second one. Just hope that he doesn't go out of control at all.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, because we already saw once his Kaguya, and he was already out of control. Thankfully, Alma was good enough to handle him.
That kind of gets you wondering, like, if we get the full Kaguya, what the fuck would happen then? His half Kaguya, like you said, he almost lost his mind. And now when you see if he goes full Kaguya, it's like, would there be a way to stop him?
That's true. Maybe it would take like a good half of CCG, the best men, to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way. Though that would be freaky if he ends up killing every character that we don't want to see to die, like Suzuya, Uri. That would be terrifying.
It would.
Though I could see Kaguya complete versus Q Squad. That would be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah. Although, with the whole mention of the cannibalism thing, and I'm not saying this was going to happen, but imagine if that's how Mutsuki gets taken out of the story.
Oh, maybe. You know what I see? If he goes full Kaguya mode, I feel like he would go if something major happens to him or Touka, and that's the one way I could see it. Like I see him freak out, go crazy, and then just go full Kaguya and just start killing everybody. And you could say it starts with Muski, if not Aura.
That could work.
Yes, it's like this series is hinting that Kaneki is really gonna go rampage in this arc, whether it's full Kaguya mode or just because something major happened to either him or to Touka. And right now they build it up so much that one of them is gonna have that tragic effect.
I mean, I was kind of wondering, I'm like, so does that kind of like, because I know Ishida likes paralleling things a lot, and I know we mentioned that like time and time again, but I kind of wondered, like, with this news now of like Kaneki aging, does it kind of solidify that Tokuguri might have like a tragic ending? And I want to say the possibility is there, but I don't want to say it's like high. That's the thing. Like I'm thinking like it could lead in that direction, but at the same time, you're kind of just sitting there going like Kaneki's been through shit already. Like he's been through like shit like time and time again, and adding this, especially with like because he's about to have a kid, and that should be one of the best things to look forward to in his life. But then you add the aging thing, and that's where I don't want to it definitely does add a complication because it's like you have a good moment coming into your life, but now you have this other moment where you're like, shit, you're on a time limit. How much time does he have left? There's a way how you can prevent all that. But here's my other thing. So what Nishi's saying again, that's like a hypothesis on what he thinks. What if there's a third option? Like, what if there's like some random thing that could like prevent the aging thing? And my thing is, what if it leads to Kano?
You know, I kind of thought of that too, especially like how much advanced he has gotten. Kanu, that is, to the point he could revive people, and that's huge. So, you know, we don't know how Furutaka works. Maybe he is better. Maybe he is like done but modified much better than Kaneki. Maybe because if I recall, didn't Kanu once call him a prototype, like my beloved prototype, or one of the
that's what I think so.
Yeah, it's a prototype. Kaneki was like the best prototype. He came off very successful, but the more he gains knowledge, the more he gains the other experiments, the more he's gonna do it much better, and the outcome, the results is gonna be much more, you know, on a very better state than Kaneki, so to say. So like, you know, you got the whole, you know, making Takizawa into an owl, like almost like very precise, no less. He just obviously made him to his puppet by torturing the hell out of him, but that's a different story. The point is, he made him really, you know, he made him a much better state that Kaneki has ever been. Even if Kaneki was like one of the more successful projects, it's just still a prototype, which you can see now with this whole aging process. Then he could do this whole, since he got the he says he got Shirazu's body, and then he did an autopsy, and then he just made everybody like getting revived. Supposedly they're different. Maybe their body works more of a human than a ghoul. I don't know yet. It doesn't explain yet. Probably explain when we start seeing Kanu again. And then suppose he's gonna do something with Noru. So there you go. There's like just so many different methods he has. So maybe, just maybe, if this whole war breaks out, it'd probably be smart and yet risky to have Kaneki to meet up with Kanu and probably experiment him for one more try. Maybe he will insert something to make Kaneki progress much like a human, more than a broken human with a aging disease process.
Yeah, I was about to suggest like maybe delete something like that.
And here's the interesting thing you pointed out, and that this got me thinking further. We know the fact. Okay, Kaneki talked to Nishiki about this whole thing. Now now we still don't know exactly what is the connection or the situation between the two, but it's interesting that he was talking to him because maybe he'd be like, you know, I could find more about this source. Maybe I could try to help him because Nishiki does have that one sense of moment that he's like, damn, I don't want to talk about this topic because this is actually kind of depressing to hear. So, you know, there was that one part and like, he's like, come on, can we stop this topic? You know?
Yeah.
But my point, what I was going is like, since Kaneki talked to Nishiki about this, maybe, just maybe, depends on the situation, maybe he will probably be the one to find a conclusion to say, we should capture Kanu, and probably we should do something about you. And the only reason I say that, because there is a connection since Kimi is with him. So what if that segues the entire thing to that whole subplot, so to say?
That would make sense.
It would make a lot of sense. Like I said, I don't know what's the situation between those two. We don't know the relationship. We don't know they broke it off. We don't know Kimi is doing a double agent moment. I don't know. But point is, I feel like this could be a startup that could segue to maybe having them to capture Kanu and do the procedure on Kaneki, so Kaneki could live longer or could live like a normal human being rather than just die off with not die off, but practically get frail in a much younger age.
Right.
You know, it's like Metal Gear Solid all over again. The guy was aging too fast, so you know his body was already giving out, and everybody's still young because the age process is actually normal. It's just his body didn't go normal.
Yeah, and it's like you said. Like I'm really thinking that like this is kind of further hinting that Kano is probably going to play like a huge part. Like especially since like when you really look back and think about it, like Kano was the one that really started this whole thing with Kaneki, and it's him that kind of set Kaneki on this path. So with Kaneki in the condition that he is, who better to go to than the guy that practically turned him into what he is now? So
yeah,
I mean, I've said this time and time again. I hate Kanu. Kanu is a piece of
me
shit.
too. Me too.
But on this occasion, I think it might be smart to go to him. It's risky, but it's smart too. It's kind of ironic when you think about it.
Yeah. Oh boy. I hate the fact he holds the key to a lot of things, but it's the only way.
Can't
At
always-
least that's how it seems like. It could be the only. It could be. He can be the answer. He can't really be.
Only time will tell. But going past all that, we cut to Ayato, and whoa, Ayato stuff was cool because he's walking through the underground city. He's kind of just like looking through stuff. He's like, the city. There aren't even ghouls here. So that comes to show you something. Then he gets ambushed. But Ayato's smart enough to know that. Because doing so, he uses Cognate because, it'll help him, like, finish off whoever's attacking him in like one go and, what the condition that he's in and everything. And the fight scene itself, interesting. I mean, it was kind of like a skirmish, but I liked it. I like what he had to showcase. And this led to something interesting because there were 3 people and they have no idea what the fuck's going on. Like, they're there. What?
It's strange because that was like 2 translation, and one of them decided to translate it in the most normal English language, but the other translation, I'm assuming it kept the normal by making it gibberish, so it doesn't let you know right away and makes you try to put the pieces together. And when you do, it's not too hard, but point is like I think that's the original intention, the whole gibberish English, the broken language, you could say.
Yeah, because I was about to point that out because like I know there were like 2 different translations for it, and I'm thinking like, so which one's the correct one? And then I'm thinking maybe it is the broken English, like you said.
Yeah, the broken language. Because
like, okay.
Yeah. Because why would they be the only ones who have that kind of writing? Unless the translator got super lazy and just forget about it. But then again, it doesn't make sense with Ayatos and the other guy reactions. Like, I really don't understand what the hell they're talking.
Yeah. He's just like, I don't understand what is going on. He's like, don't worry, I won't eat you, lot. And he's like, nut? Yeah. Broken English. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like these guys are just talking, and Ayato's like, I still don't understand. He's like, it's like, what the heck's up with these guys? Are they afraid of being eaten? Like, what does rolling mean? It's like, are you? And he even goes on asking, like, so, are you guys residents of the 24th Ward? Like, what happened to the other ghouls? And they're like, oh, what's a ghoul? And the minute I saw that line, I was thinking, like, how long have they been down here? If they don't know what a ghoul is.
Well, first of all, are they even human? Because they can't be, right?
Yeah, that's what I was, because I mean, based on the skirmish that was happening. Well, hold on, let me see. Was any Cognate involved?
Yeah, he had that kid had a Cognate.
Okay, yeah, okay. I just have to make sure about that. So
yeah, that part was weird because they either are human, but then that would beg the question: did you telling me somebody was doing the experiment a long time ago, or what?
That's a possibility.
If they're not human, but they say they are these people in this utopia, let's just say that, are trained to think they're human? What is going on? But the confusing part is that you gotta remember 2 chapters ago, Ayato did find a remnants of human presence.
He did.
So is that referring to those kids? And if that's the case, how the hell they been living there? And how long they were even there? It has to be long. It has to be like since their birth. Like,
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's confusing. It really is. And if they are human, I guess it will make sense on their statement with the whole, "Oh, you're gonna eat us? You're gonna eat us?" You know, like it will make sense. But if they're not human and they're ghouls, and then they think about being eaten, are they trained to be think they're human and sacrifice as as a meal? Like basically is what I think these people in this area are like nothing but cannibalism guys. Or what is the story behind this?
And it's funny because like the whole thing is going down, and when Ayato's trying to get like kind of trying to get like all the pieces together, like one of them's even like mentioning like this is Tokyo, like we're human. Then it's like you said, like it's kind of weird because of like like what took place in the skirmish because they have Kaganes, and it's like, but my thing is, do they really know what a ghoul is? And it's like how long have they been down there? I mean, I mean, based on how they look, at least at the very least before Kaneki got his ghoul abilities. At the very least before he became a half ghoul. I can say that much. But as far as the humans are concerned, I mean, and I kind of wonder, could this have something to do with Kuzan? And again, Kuzan's been a character that's been MIA for a long time, a very, very long time. And I remember there was like that flashback scene. I forget what if that took place in a particular ward or whatnot, but I remember there was like that scene of him and his wife, and of course with Eto.
Mm-hmm.
But did we ever find out where exactly that took place?
What do you mean, like the timeline wise or the location?
That's like, well, I guess, but well, okay. Timeline wise, we knew it was like in the past, like during like his youth, leading into like his like leading into how he is as a parent. But as far as the location goes, do we know about that?
I think, but I don't know. You know what? Give me a few minutes. Let me check on this. You could you could talk further about like any theories you thought of or anything.
Okay, because I was thinking like, what if this city is kind of connected to Kuzan in a weird way? That's what I'm thinking.
Are you just referring to the fact that where he leaves Eto behind, or what?
Something like that? Yeah, like him leaving Etta behind, and maybe like I don't know. It's weird because I had this weird theory like maybe this whole thing has something to do with Kuzan, like with like his past and whatnot. And it would be interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of looking at these kids going like, well, hold on.
Okay.
This probably had to have been even before his time.
Okay. Let me confirm something right now for you.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know exactly the timeline is. That's a mystery still. But the real answer to your question is actually the 24th Ward tunnels. Now it's possible that Nori, the guy who ends up becoming Noro,
right?
He may be connected to the one they're in right now.
Okay,
because it makes sense. It's further underground. Or a human won't know. If they do know, they don't dare to go there because it's like a suicide. So maybe Eto grew up in there. I don't know. I'm just guessing. It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of wondering, like thinking, well, hold on, because I remember there was like that whole flashback thing, and I was thinking, well, hold on. I remember there was something about like a particular ward, but I couldn't recall if it had to deal with like the 24th ward. But now that you confirmed that with me, that kind of gets me wondering with Eto and her stance and all this.
Right. It's a good thing you brought that up, but now it starting to make sense. But I still wonder, like, what kind of. I wanted to draw a connection to like maybe this is how Eto got this powerful, because maybe everybody is cannibal, and
that's possible.
Possible, yeah. Still hard to say.
Yeah, but anyway, like Ayato even like asks, like, so hey, I want to know what happened. Like, what is the city like? One of them just says Naga, and that kind of like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh wait, so there's like the little caption at the bottom that says like, the Naga are part of the race of serpents in Hindu mythology, and that to me, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And they said the Naga braked every Tinger?
Everything. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure.
I was like every tinger. So
Yeah, that part is strange because I don't know what that supposed to mean. Now, here's a funny thing. Somebody once said that I think Naga's supposed to be like I forgot, like a fairy tale translation or a folklore translation. I forgot how it goes, but somebody suggested that it actually means dragon to some language.
I think you'd be right about that because I heard about that too.
Yeah, it's funny because like if that's the case, what is it trying to say? And if that's also the case, does that mean is this thing still connected to Furuta that
I was
he
about
is
to suggest
referring?
that like maybe it's connecting. Maybe that might connect the phototon some weird way.
So if that's the case, is who could this dragon be?
Right.
And is this actually if it's the one eye they've been searching for? Is this like a whoops? We actually awakened a giant, or is it someone else that they really need this one-eyed ghoul guy because whatever this Naga is, it seems very legit threat. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a connection, but it kind of highly suggested that is the case.
Could they be one and the same? Like the person they're trying to find, and the the Naga or the dragon in this case, like what you suggested. Like
Right.
if we had a percentage rate on if that's true, at this point, I want to say like 30%. There's a 30% chance I could see that happening. But what about you?
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's a theory, but
Yeah, I mean, like, it's weird because I had an impression that everything was normal in 24 Ward.
yeah,
Like, well, whatever their normal is, but it made it seem like, hey, Ayato, it's welcome to the place. Unfortunately, you came a little late because things already done here. So, yeah, sorry, but I don't. It's hard to say. Like I said, this whole Tokyo supposedly is Tokyo, or maybe they think it's Tokyo, or maybe this is Tokyo. Maybe it's the
like the
old
remnants of
Tokyo.
what Tokyo was. I could see that.
Yeah, these kids, maybe they are humans, but why they have cognitive? Why they're like another? Are they really? Are they one eye? Are they like supposed to be the Q Squad style? What's this? What's the story behind this whole thing? This part is intriguing. It's
Yeah,
confusing, but it's intriguing. That's for sure. Because now I'm really curious.
yeah,
That it seems like, judging by the chapter preview for the next chapter, it almost suggests it might actually trying to connect the dot between what happened there and to what's going on with Furuta and CCG.
right.
So that could be a troubling sign, but
Mhm.
I don't
I
know.
was even gonna say like the whole mystery behind the underground city. I think that could even warrant like a spin-off story just focused around that.
Well, I wouldn't mind that. I'd be like, I could see it like a novel, light novel coming from that.
Yeah, whether it's like a prequel. Well, that's the thing. Could you see that as like a prequel, or that as like a light novel that's focusing like on events that are taking place like right now?
Hmm. I mean, maybe we get some story out of it in the current manga, but
Yeah,
I think if you want like a full fledged story, maybe you probably get a light novel out of it.
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I will read it. That's for sure.
Yeah, right.
Because it is one part that has been a mystery until now, which ironically still gives us more mystery because I have zero idea what the hell is going on there
Like you
or
got
what
stuff on the
happened there.
24th ward. It's like, wait, there's an underground city, and hold on, what?
Yeah, so there's more to it.
Only Ishida, man. Only Ishida can pull some shit like this. But after that, after the whole thing with like what the kids were explaining to Ayato, we come back to Kaneki and Touka, and they were saying like, or Touka's basically mentioned like like how the kids were happy, and Kaneki's happy about it too. And again, he's kind of got like this gloom face, and he feels bad because of the notice that he saw with Yoriko's execution, and he's kind of just thinking like, hold on, like if he's not really saying it, but he's just kind of like thinking to himself like, if I told you I was going to save her, would you stop me? And Touka asks like, so what? Something hard to say? And he you can see the sweat on his face. He's like kind of like nervous about it. Yeah, sort of. And Touka. The fact that she brings this question up, I'm just like, are you serious? He's like, what, found a girl you like or something down here? And he's like,
Yes, I have. And now I am officially having an affair. Good day to you, Mammo. The end. And then Kaneki will be the worst hateable character of all time just for that. Historical. Get kind of sad too.
it is. But the Kaneka's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. And Touka's like, well, I guess I'll start then. And, they're both, exchanging eye contact with one another. And Touka reveals to Kaneki that she's pregnant. Probably.
No. I thought I was going to get trouble. I thought I was going to get trouble when I said, like, I didn't see how I said it. It was like, I was saying, like, the sad part is when you hear the news of of your wife being pregnant or your loved one being pregnant, it should be considered like the best news for them. Accident not included.
Yeah.
I was hoping I didn't get in trouble. I didn't, so that's good. Because I don't want to be like, oh, come on. It's like, oh, that, I don't want people that's very sensitive to just think the wrong way. I'm like, it's just a joke. Don't worry. I understand that when it happens, it's it's kind of hard to accept or something like that. But I'm just joking. Please. So yeah, it's like Kaneki didn't react. No, I don't want you to be pregnant. Calling
the Darth Vader no.
No. That's a little bit too far. That would make probably a lot of people be angry at him.
Like, oh god, it's like why? But yeah, like Touka even says like, well, I'm not exactly sure when it'll be born. I thought I'd just tell you if and when I was sure, but she even says like, I was really gonna keep it quiet about it, but I'm sorry. And Kaneki, he's not devastated, but he is concerned. Like you can see it in his eye. And he's like, well, yes, okay, but also no, like Touka, you should know. Like you should know that Yoriko is going to be executed. And like don't tell me you were just gonna ignore it. And he's like, choose. And Kaneki again, he's just like overthinking things. He's like, when's it due, the child? And Touka reveals in December. Is it Christmas time though? That's what I'm wondering.
Merry Christmas, Kaneki.
Get a Christmas baby. That'd be cool, actually, if it was born on Christmas.
Yeah, right.
It's in December. Kaneki says, "I see," and then Touka's like, "You know what? I'm glad." He's like, "Wait, well, no." Touka doesn't say that. It's Kaneki. Kaneki's like, "Yeah, I'm glad." And she's like, "Really? Yeah, really." So this is what you've chosen, Touka, ghouls, and this is funny. I've never thought about this before. I've never thought about this. Like while reading Touka Ghoul and Touka Ghoul, I never bothered to think how the whole process goes with ghouls marrying one another.
That's true.
Now when I'm really thinking about it, Ishida, you are a sly fox. Right now, you are a sly fox because this man subtly foreshadowed this in like the Tsukiyama arc. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. There's one specific moment that happens, and now when I'm looking back on, I'm like, oh shit! Like that moment has a meaning to it now.
I forgot to recap. Well, actually, yeah, I forgot to mention about that in my review, like because I was so awestruck with the decision they both have to make, which makes sense, but it's sad. But now, like I said, if you go with the decisions to save that person, just how much reward you get out of it. Yay, you save a person. We lost like 18 of ours. You got to think about the risk. And then, of course, Kaneki is now in a weaker state. That just makes the problematic even further extreme. And this is a decision they have to make. This is a decision. I don't want to say it's the best decision, but it's the safest one, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, so I was so awestruck about that I kind of forgot to include about the marriage part, which isn't sweet, and same thing at the same time sad because the mood setting. but it's sweet because they, what they do to rebound from their topic that they have to discuss, even though they didn't really blatantly talk about it outside, but you could tell their mindset is really trying to escape from that idea of, Yoriko's execution
But they
being
executed, yeah.
right.
Her days are kind of numbered at this point.
Right. That's the idea. Like Touka. We already saw Touka just looking into the sky. That's obviously like those usual
Thinking to
scenes.
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, those usual scenes that you see them thinking really hard about what they're going through. So when Touka, instead of talking about that topic, she goes to the pregnancy topic, which makes sense, but she's obviously dodging the bigger question, which is why Kaneki didn't you really caught on that she's dodging that. So he too pretty much dodged the same thing, because that is a depressing topic. So
It is.
yeah, so instead they just talk about the baby, and then after coming to that decision, yeah, they both going to disclose that topic because they can't do anything.
No, they can't.
It's just suicidal.
And it's depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing. It's suicidal to go out there. They have, Kaneki, it's not like they're selfish to say, like, forget about her. They're not. There is no sign of that selfishness.
No, they really want to go and help out. It's just that the situation that they're in is, like, really rough.
Exactly. And it reminds me that chapter with Touka wanted to do something to save Ateku people, but then Yomo stop her and tell her that they really can't do anything when the situation is like this extreme. And when it comes to that, the best thing they could do is stay behind, stay safe, and just watch everything they cherish just starts disappearing. So this is the same case. They both, well, she's more smart enough to know what is really the, what could cause the most problem. And the most problem is to go out there and try to save a friend, which could ultimately be like One Piece all over again, but for these guys. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm hoping it doesn't go to that. Like,
yeah.
really
well, they're not gonna go up there, so it's predetermined until a guardian angel from above probably do save Yoriko, which I'm still hoping for them. But if it doesn't happen, shit. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe the next chapter will probably determine them. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. But
we see this every podcast. Like the next chapter.
I know. It's just too many. But yeah, again, they're not selfish. They're not coming across like they could care about themselves. It's obvious that it affects them a lot. It affects her a lot, the most, if anything. Kaneki is more affected the fact that, she's really hurt, but she chose to ignore this topic because, that's the best thing to do, I guess. Yes. Yeah. It's such a heart-wrenching moment, in my opinion. I was like, damn, this really sucks. And this is the only way. At least, I mean, it's not the only way, but it's the safest way, like I said.
It's like the safest bet that you can place right now.
Right. Exactly. So after Kaneki understands that's the decision, that's where he jumps to the topic of marriage. It's like, it won't make it up, but I wanted to make you happy by putting a marriage. Especially we could make ourselves happier if we could just get married, because that's like a foundation of we are once together, and we are like that for this point forward. So that's like a interesting segue. And like you said, which I forgot to mention, is like you said, yeah, that bite mark has been there since the part 1, since that time with Sugiyama arc. It's rather clever.
It is. It's like you're initially thinking like, okay, she's just using that to gain her strength back. But now when you look at it in retrospect, that one particular moment has so much weight when you get to like this point in the story, because Touka mentions like for the marriage we need proof, like we must leave proof on each other's bodies, and because she even goes on saying like, as deeply as we can, proof deep enough to not fade, even if we die, proof as, and then one word, bite marks. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit. I was like, wait. So that moment with Tsukiyama was not just for her regaining her RT cells. It was also a big, subtle indication that this was going to lead to something big. And you see Kaneki leading a bite mark on Touka. I'm going to say it's like around the same part where she left a bite mark on Kaneki.
I can't remember exactly, but
yeah,
it probably was, if not the same position that Touka is looking at Kaneki right now, which is still either a very foreshadowing. It kind of reminds me like I guess you could say holding hands. If you hold hands and you don't see it as a romantic, it will bound to be one eventually in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So the bite marks, now that we see this, now you could go retrace back. It's like, oh, that's like a crazy foreshadow. We just didn't know, but
no, we didn't.
Interesting. Yeah. The funny part is even Nishiki did that to Kimi.
You're right, he did.
Yeah, so that just makes a lot of things so subtly, sweet.
Too, but, it's like, wow.
Yeah, that was well played. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I mean, shit.
So on the bright side, even if it all goes downhill, at least they got to this point. So
they're officially. Well, can we say they're officially married now?
Yeah, we could say that.
Because I was debating about that. I was thinking, well, are they indirectly married or are they officially married? I was debating about that, like, for a while. I was feeling.
Well, I think it's like the Las Vegas marriage. You just go by drive-through. All right, married. Then that's it.
I mean, that makes sense like that.
Yeah. Well, the only question that remains: what Touka changed her last name?
Touka
Kaneki.
Well, yeah. I keep forgetting that Kaneki's first name. Well, I know it's Ken, but we've been calling him like Kaneki, so it's like, so do we start calling him Ken now?
Yeah, I don't know. Or we could go, or maybe she would take Sasaki. Yeah, taunt.
Touka Heising.
That's Kaneki would be the one to submit and be Kaneki Krishma.
Touka.
Could be another K.
Touka Kaneki. Wait, that's only if he has red hair. Shit, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. Damn. Fail.
Touka Shironeki. There.
So it should be interesting for Ayato to come back home. Man, these kids are so crazy. They think they're humans. We couldn't find a one eye. Everything is destroyed. We find out CCG are more powerful than ever. Well, my days has been shitty. What could get worse? Hey, hey, Ayato, welcome back. I got two good news. One, I'm your brother-in-law, and two, you're gonna be the uncle. and fuck my life.
I was gonna say, just imagine like Ayato walking in like as the bite marks are happening. He'd be like, "Oh, what the."
Ayato's just gonna go up there. You know what? I heard your best friend is in trouble. I'm just gonna risk it alone and see how far I can get. If I die, shit. So be it.
Well, at least you know what's gonna happen with Hinami and Ayato. They become a thing. If that becomes a thing. What?
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility.
It could still happen. Maybe another time skip, but it could still happen.
Mm-hmm. That's where the chapter ends. And I mean, I've noticed Ishida doing this a lot. He puts, like, okay, there's a moment in the chapter where you're like, oh, like, Ishida, why do you do this? Like, it's not on the same level as what, let's say, Hiro Mashima does with Fairy Tail. It's not like that at all. What Ishida does, he makes you feel depressed for a moment. And there's always going to be something like that in the chapter, and that's something I've noticed so far within this arc. There's always something like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he balances it out with something nice. And that's kind of what we got here with Touka and Kaneki. It's like, okay, yeah, we had the bit with him like aging. We had that whole talk with Nishiki and Kaneki. And them talking about like, well, you know, you're aging. You got to think about like all these kind of scenarios that you're going to have to do. And you're left with a certain scenario that you need to stick with because you probably aren't gonna last long. And then we have like a moment like this, and it's nice and sweet. I think that works for Isha. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Oh man, like I
mean,
said,
I mean, look, it's like I said, the moment when it gets depressing gets me really worried when it comes to the following chapter.
Yeah.
But if the next chapter, just like some of the past other chapters, we have like a nice moment kicking in, maybe we will be fine. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's try not to be too optimistic. Well, like I said, when this is all over, when everything is smooth sailing, when everything is nice for Kaneki and Touka, everything, all my worries will disappear for now, and I would just celebrate the shit out of this pairing.
Like, you know what? Let's just look back on this moment going like, we were worried for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, it's part of the journey, and that's what makes it compelling. Because if you're so into the story, you're going to be like, you know, compelled by to anything that could happen. You could easily get fooled by this atmosphere, by the way how it's trying to build up. Like, again, maybe Ishida is toying with us, and it's possible. We don't know exactly that's true, but it is highly possible that we're just taking a bait. And all this time, everything will be just fine. And hell, like I said, maybe upcoming chapters, maybe Yoriko would be saved by somebody we would never guess, and be like, "Oh, look at that! Everything goes well." Phew, you know. But time will tell for this, because right now we're just following the journey and see how that plays out. And right now, it has a mixture of tendency, yet it's very depressing.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we could kind of talk about our prediction as to what could happen next chapter. Did we get some focus on Ayato last chapter or not? I'm trying to remember if we did.
Last chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Last chapter didn't
130.
Last chapter didn't focus on Ayato whatsoever, if I recall correctly.
Okay, because I was gonna say maybe we could get a little bit more stuff on him, because I mean, look, I love the Touka and Kaneki stuff, but at the same time, there's always something depressing going on over there. Go on.
Well, I wouldn't say they hit the limit. It's not the best term I could say. I can't find the right term to say it, but you could say we seen it good enough because it makes sense. You start you start with the time skip. You have Touka acting a little strange. And then you find out why she's acting a little strange is because of the baby. And then you find out that Yoriko isn't due for execution. Then you have her deciding to, they're not going to do anything about it, but let it be. Again, still sad, but it just has to be done.
It does.
And they got to marriage, and that's it. That's all it needs to take care of. Now we just need to take care of Ayato's and what exactly is he looking at. Then we have to further deep detail on what's going on with CCG, especially with the execution is on the way. So that's two parts we really got to focus the most right now, because everything else has been covered enough for us to understand where the stories is heading to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Like, I think the Kaneki and Touka stuff, like, I wouldn't mind seeing more of it, but I feel like we have covered almost everything that's kind of been set up, like, since, like the mini time skip that's taken place. So as far as the next chapter is concerned, I do think we'll probably get some more stuff on Ayato, but get like a little slice of like the CCG and seeing how things are going over there with like with Yoriko stuff. I can kind of just see that happening like that, but that's just me.
Yeah. For the record, the next chapter is the last chapter of the volume. So so I'm expecting something explosive. Not literally, but what I mean is obviously the big holy shit, like something that we probably be talking for a good week and probably keep thinking about it for the good passing days, which is possible. Again, it could be just a normal chapter. We don't know. The last volume ended with Buski surprising Kaneki. So that went. So everybody went.
It's like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah, that's where everybody went complete shit because everybody's like, oh shit, this is gonna go downhill, which it did. So next chapter is the last chapter of the volume. I don't know what to expect. It says to the surface. It has to do with CCG. Maybe we see the execution. That would be a low blow way to end the volume. Maybe something will happen with Muski. Maybe she realized, oh, Kaneki's never going to go there. Maybe she would think of something like go actually there because she probably find out the location from Furata. Maybe Furata will announce his major plan. Maybe
it's possible.
Yeah, or maybe Ayato will meet the one-eyed guy and probably reveal something shocking to us to the history behind this place. And be like, "What? I don't get it."
What if the one? Okay, this is a wild theory, and I'm not expecting this to be true. But what if the one-eyed person is Arata? And I highly doubt that's the case, but
me too. I doubt that too. I mean, like that would be cool, but that's not the case. I do believe he's still in CCG's lab somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief. Now, another thing we could consider for the last chapter of the volume, the next chapter, it could be the reveal of Dragon. Maybe
that's true. It could be that.
Yeah,
since they kind of get mentioned in this chapter too.
Right. So, like I said, I think next chapter may focus more towards Ayato and CCG. And I think they probably find a way to connect the two. Maybe with the dragon talk. Maybe we find out what caused the city to be in that shape. Maybe we find out whose dragon is. I don't know. It's a lot of possibility. My best guess is going to focus those two mostly.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, aside from that, like, is there anything else that we've missed when it comes to this particular chapter? Because I kind of feel like we covered almost everything.
We did. We did it good enough, actually.
All right.
It's just a matter of, like, exactly what next. What's now? Which, again, is still kind of scary. Actually, not kind of.
Last chapter of the volume, so that's gonna be interesting. So,
yeah.
What's gonna be happening next?
Oh, boy.
I'm concerned, but kind of looking forward to it, too.
Look at the bright side. Psycho is the next cover, so that's cool. She's always delightful.
Maybe something crazy will happen with her in the next chapter. Who knows?
Maybe. I am the dragon now. Maybe she killed Muski for our sake. Maybe the last chapter will actually show us what Takeomi did to Muski, the punch.
I'd be like, all is forgiven.
Must buy volume. Day one volume confirmed.
If he does it, I'll be like, okay, Ishida, all is forgiven. Just because you off-screened it earlier.
Oh man. Well, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Whew.
I mean, it was fun. It was really fun talking about Touka Ghoul, like, especially like with a lot of the stuff that we've had right now. And Sparta, it was really great to have you on board again, as always. Just when it comes to like these discussions.
No, not a problem. I'm always happy to join the discussion. It's always fun to discuss a lot of things with another person because you get either more insight or you just have the same agreement and you just to talk, and you probably just get more out of it from each other. I don't know. I like discussing with another person, so it's always a pleasure to join the discussion with you, as always.
Same here. And aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm LuckyG7.
SPARDA3g.
And we will see you guys next time. Peace.